Inside, you are two selves. One is timid, cautious, hesitant, and enslaved by fear. The other is bold, decisive, persistent, and fearless. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, called this bold force your other self. He believed it is the single greatest key to transforming failure into success, mediocrity into greatness, and hesitation into destiny. But here's the truth. Most people never meet their other self. The timid self is easy to recognize. It whispers, play it safe. Don't take the risk. Wait until the time is right. It makes excuses, fears criticism, and hides from opportunity. This timid self is the version of you that drifts, postpones, and compromises. The other self, however, is different. It doesn't drift, it doesn't wait, it acts with clarity, courage, and conviction. It is decisive when others hesitate. It is persistent when others give up. It is bold when others hide. And Hill taught that if you can awaken this other self, it will transform your life in ways you cannot even imagine. Think about Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business, he lost elections, he was ridiculed and attacked. By every measure, he should have given up. But Lincoln's other self emerged. The timid man who feared failure was replaced by the decisive leader who guided a nation through its darkest hour. Or Thomas Edison. He failed not once, not twice, but thousands of times in trying to invent the light bulb. Most people would have given up after a handful of setbacks, but Edison's other self was relentless. To him, each failure wasn't the end. It was a lesson, a stepping stone. That's why, when the world speaks of light, they speak of Edison. And then there's Henry Ford. People laughed at the idea of a car for the masses. They mocked him. They doubted him. But Ford's other self didn't care about mockery. It cared about vision. It cared about persistence. And eventually, the world had no choice but to accept his creation. These men were ordinary. What made them extraordinary was their decision to let their other self take charge. The question is, which self are you living as right now? Are you living as the timid self, drifting through life, avoiding risks, avoiding decisions, and quietly hoping things will change? Or are you living as the other self, bold, persistent, decisive, creating change, embracing risk, and demanding results? Napoleon Hill believed that every person faces this choice, and most never choose the other self because they are afraid. Afraid of criticism, afraid of poverty, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of stepping into greatness. Hill described 6 ghosts of fear that haunt the timid self: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. These fears paralyze people, they shrink dreams, they convince you to wait. But the other self laughs at fear. To the other self, fear is an illusion. It's a test. It's the weight you lift to grow stronger. So how do you awaken your other self? Hill gives us a practical formula. Step 1, write a definite chief aim. This is more than a goal. It's your guiding star. It's the single sentence that defines what you are working toward, what you are building, and who you are becoming. Write it down. Review it every single day. Speak it aloud until it burns into your identity. Step 2, affirm boldly. Your timid self will always whisper doubts. To silence it, you must speak louder. Repeat affirmations like, I am my other self. I live boldly. I persist endlessly. I create my destiny. Every repetition engraves it deeper into your subconscious. Step 3, take decisive action. Stop drifting. Stop postponing. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. The other self acts, and it acts now. Even the smallest decisive action builds momentum, and momentum is power. Step 4, practice auto-suggestion. At night, as you fall asleep, feed your mind the identity of your other self. Repeat your chief aim. Visualize bold decisions. See yourself persisting. When you sleep with these thoughts, your subconscious begins to believe them. Step 5, build a mastermind alliance. Hill taught that when 2 or more minds come together with harmony and purpose, they create a power greater than any individual. Surround yourself with bold, courageous, decisive people. Your other self thrives in their presence. Your timid self suffocates. What about failure? What about crisis? Here's the truth. Crisis is often the birthplace of the other self. When life corners you, when everything seems lost, when you are forced to act or perish, that's when the timid self collapses and the other self rises. Edison faced ridicule. Ford faced bankruptcy. Lincoln faced humiliation. They all faced moments that could have broken them, but in those very moments, their other selves emerged stronger than ever. Hill reminds us, failure is not the end. It is the forge. It is the crucible where your other self is shaped. But here's the secret. You cannot meet your other self once and expect it to stay. You must enthrone it daily. The timid self will always try to return. It will whisper. It will tempt you back into comfort. That's why you must practice daily discipline. Review your chief aim every morning. Affirm your boldness. Take one decisive action. Reflect every evening. Day by day, decision by decision, you strengthen the other self until it becomes your permanent ruler. Napoleon Hill believed that within each of us lies a warrior, a bold creator of destiny, but only if we choose it. Today, you can keep drifting as your timid self, or you can awaken the other self, live boldly, persist endlessly, and demand your greatness. The choice is yours. To help you put this into practice, I've created a free Other Self journal you can download below. It includes daily checklists, affirmations, and prompts to make this transformation real. Awaken your other self. Live boldly, persist endlessly, create your destiny.